As Muslims, halal concept is coming from years and from our religion, and it's discussed in Quran, and Aap Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam also discussed this. So halal is basically is the word which is we call permissible, which is allowable for Muslims. We can consume food. It's not only about the food; it's about the processes. It's about the lifestyle. So this is the word halal describes the Muslim's life, and we have to differentiate between halal and haram food and different concepts and different lifestyles. I have shared one verse from Quran which states that, then eat of what Allah has provided for you, lawful and good, and be grateful for the favor of Allah. It is indeed Him that you worship. So it's a reference from Quran which states that you Muslims who believe in Allah should eat or should consume or should have the life according to the halal concept of Islam. So moving on to the halal food, which is our main topic of today, is you have to consume halal food, and halal and haram should be defined in your life. The food which is you can say permissible in Islam is halal food. It also describes your purity, your soul's purity, and there's a concept in us in Muslims that the person who eat haram and the person who eat halal cannot be the same, and they cannot have the same lifestyle in this life or the life hereafter. So because of this belief and because of religion basics, the demand of halal food is increasing day by day. And it also, the major key factor is as Muslim population is increasing, and according to a research, 20% increase in Muslim population is considered by 2050 each year. So it's a very flourishing sector, and a very we can say the demand and supply basics are to be met in the halal food industry, and not only in halal food industry, but also in different sectors of halal. So we will mainly discuss the growth potential of halal food and its concept, and the countries which are mainly working out and this, the developed countries and also the less developed countries. So the basic is importance, why we are discussing this, and why it is so much important in this era. So first of all, the basic is religion. As Muslims, we have to consider it. We have to consider which things are halal and which things are haram. Second is its increasing domestic demand. As I have already told, that 20% increase in per year is expecting in Muslim population, and approximately 1/7, 1/4, 1/4 to 1/7 population of world is Muslims, and it's a big industry of 1.9 billion people. So the domestic demand for halal processes and halal food is increasing day by day, and not even Muslim countries, but also non-Muslim countries are increasing their resources to become more competitive in global market. Third thing is economic welfare. Halal add the value, and it also obviously promote the trade and investment as increases, as obviously it's a huge market. It's 57 countries, 57 Muslim countries, and other countries are the population, and the population, the demand is increasing day by day for halal food. The people are demanding the halal certificates and halal logos on their food, so that they can differentiate between their processes and food. So economically, its importance is also increasing. Fourth one is people welfare. The halal industry is also providing job opportunities. Obviously, it's not only about food, it's about tourism, it's about halal tourism, halal logistics, and different things are considered in halal industry. So the job opportunities for different young generations, for coming young generations, are increasing. And last one is the global halal market gap, the gap between the demand and supply. Production is less and the demand is more. It's mainly because halal also consumes the food safety. The food safety concept and halal concept comes side by side. And non-Muslims are also considering this, that halal food is more you can say it's more safe to consume, as nowadays you can also consider that coronavirus came from a bat, right? It came from a wildlife, and in halal food and Muslims, these wildlife foods are not allowable. Okay? These wildlife, you cannot consume these foods. And we have a concept that these animals like bat and different wildlife, they have different nudges, we can say, the things which we cannot consume, and it can cause health effects. So non-Muslims and other countries are also considering the safety point of this, that in China, after this coronavirus condition, they have banned the wildlife consumption for approximately 3 to 4 months. And this is the reason that this market is increasing, and the safety and the purity perspective is increasing day by day, in accordance with the halal food. So next is halal food industry, halal industry. How can we define them? Define it. Halal industry is mainly, obviously, it's a concept from Muslim religion, from Islam. So it's mainly driven by Muslims. 1.9 billion Muslims in this world require the demand for halal food, and the demand for halal tourism, halal industry, and different things. So it's a lifestyle, and it's based on our faith. And the third thing we consider in this halal industry is pure, tayyib. The food which is pure, the food which is considered as that it not involves any haram thing or anything which is not tayyib. Okay, so it's not only about food industry; it's about finance and hospitality. Uh, in this era, Islamic finance is approximately of $2.3 US billions, trillion. So it's more than the food industry. So you can say that halal industry has a big perspective, and its potential is increasing with the time. So the key driver for this for the halal industry and for the consumption of this halal food, and the requirement is the demand of the people for halal food, not only in Muslim countries but also in non-Muslim countries. And the supply in this era is not enough for the people who require halal, or who require pure food in this. And in this world market, we can say it's the latest trend. According to a research, 20% increase in each year. It's now we see the 20% increase in halal industry, and halal industry potential is coming in each year by 2050. So it's a very promising market. And the young generation, the and our entrepreneurs, different entrepreneurs are also coming in this halal food market and exploring it. So the next is also, it's from a research, we can say that 16.6% of the total global halal food expenditure, it's the you can say 16.6% Muslims are spending it. So it's and from GDP, the total GDP is affected by this 1.9 billion population. Next, this is the regional, we can say, regional distribution of Muslim population. 1.8 billion Muslims are distributed in these regions. The main you can see that it's Middle East, North Africa, where 47.81% is Muslims, are Muslims. And obviously their requirement is halal and pure food. Second is Asia Pacific, 24 with 24.1%, and then accordingly, Europe has the least, is 1.06% Muslim population. So this is the graph where you can say that 1,000 million consumers are in Asia. So this is the biggest market where you can say the halal industry is growing, and the you can say the demand is increasing day by day. And globally, it's 1,800 million consumers are there, and the main Muslim markets are Indonesia, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, and Malaysia is one of this 60% exporter of halal food nowadays. And its industry is, you can say, it's the major global halal hub. We say it's Malaysia. So by 2030, 29% of the world population will be Muslim. It's a research, and these young consumer market obviously require halal food, and they will also invest in this market, not only in halal food, in halal tourism, in halal financing, and this impact will obviously increase day by day. And by 2050, you can have a major global halal food market along with the international standards, along with the international schemes. So this is the graph showing a growth of halal market from 2004 to 2015. The GDP increases in this halal food market. In Canada, we can say the demand for halal food is only $1 billion. It was only $1 billion, but now by 2015 it has been increased $80 billion. So it's a huge difference and a huge gap and huge potential, which shows the halal food market increasing demand. Now, the main ethics, the main practices which are involved in this halal business is according to the Islamic ethics. The Muslim live and consume, and all the things, they have their lifestyle based on the halal and haram and all the things which are considered in their religion. According to a survey, 42 countries where the 83% of respondents said that their life is dependent on their religion, and they consider that whether the food is halal, whether the food is haram, and it is consumable or not. So these questions are the basic which increase the global potential of halal food. And these questions by 83% of the people, they consider it as the potential. And the halal food industry is based on these questions and these beliefs of the Muslims. So halal products, not only food, but different, we can say it's different categories. Islamic finance sector, we can say it's $2 trillion in assets nowadays. And the second big industry is food and beverage, which is $1.17 trillion. It's not only in the Muslim countries or Muslim populated countries, but also in the non-Muslim countries. Australia, we can say, is the fourth largest exporter of halal food, which is not which is not a Muslim country. And in Singapore, it's only 15% of the Muslims, and still the big chains like McDonald's and KFC, they all are now 100% halal. And this is the reason, this is the potential of the halal market, which is globally increasing. This is the stats. We can say food industry, obviously the halal food consumption will never be stopped. Finance can be lowered in coming years, cosmetics and other, but the halal food, it's increasing. It's increasing, and even in the years like this, like 2020, when coronavirus came, and different, you can say, different markets, different international markets collapsed, but halal food market is the one which showed its potential because of its purity. Not only Muslims, the non-Muslims also came here because wildlife food causes these disruption, the bacteria and these viruses which came from wildlife are not from the are not came from the halal food. Halal food is pure, and it is considered to be safe by not only in Muslims but also by different researchers which are working on it now. So coming on to the halal foods, the main topic, it's not only about the meat, or it's not only about the poultry that slaughtering should be halal, and the food the we can say the consumption of the meat should be halal. It's also about the dairy products, the oils and the confectionery and different cereals. It's about the halal food is from it's like food safety. That is, you have to consider the halal supply chain. You have to consider while the food coming or the food transporting, it's halal or not. It should not be mixed with the ingredients which are not halal. So it's a whole supply chain, you can say, which should be considered in halal global halal potential food industry. So it's not only about the meat, it's about the food and vegetables, whether they are pure dairy products. Non-haram ingredients should not be mixed with them. Cereal and grains, oils and fats should not be come from the non-haram animals, and other different things should be considered. Next is impact on non-Muslims. We can say the 1.3 billion Muslims in this world, and they are the consumer, but the halal consuming industry is 1.5 billion. The gap between the 1.3 and 1.5 is of non-Muslims. They are believing that halal consumers and the halal things are more pure, they are more safe, they are more hygiene, and these things are impacting the big industries like of Indonesia, Bangladesh and Canada, and we can say even in different industries, they are considering their halal products because of their food safety and hygiene. And non-Muslims, we can say, it's cultural development that the whole majority, the different majorities, different religious believe people are moving towards the halal food, not towards the non-haram. Okay, so this is the halal. We can say it's the trouble. This halal food industry or halal industry, we believe that will become, it's because of the shortage of the supply, not the demand. Demand will increase by 2050 and by coming years. The shortage will come on the supply, because we show it's 80%. You can see in this graph that it's 80% difference in the gap. 2.8 it's a graph of 2016. Halal products demand was 2.8 trillion, and the countries which were providing these food and these halal food products was approximately five: Australia, Malaysia, Thailand, Brazil, Singapore. These are the main industries which were providing, and there were gap of 80% approximately of demand and supply in this halal food industry. Next is OIC. OIC is playing its major part. 57 Muslim majority member countries are its members, and it's obviously dollar. They are providing $17 trillion in GDP by 2015, during researchers showed that, and it's approximately global GDP of 15% of the total global GDP. So OIC is considering not only halal food but also different countries in OIC, considering travel tourism, clothing and media, and development in this halal food sector. These are some stats. You can say the combined population of key halal markets is 652 million, and some countries like Oman, Turkey, UAE, Yemen, Pakistan, they are providing this cost. And the key halal markets which are non-Muslim countries: India, China, France, Canada, Mexico, and Brazil. Canada, they are providing, and they are providing some 8 million, 40 million, 140 million, and it's increasing. It's increasing. These are some graphical representation, you can say. US market, and still the Asia is the biggest market for halal food industry, with US dollar 418.1 billion, but it's increasing. And in Australia, you can say 1.6 billion. As it's Australia is the fourth, now it's the fourth largest exporter of halal foods and beverage to OIC, to the Muslim countries. And Canada business also increased from $1 to $80 billion of halal from 2014 to till now, 2019. And considering different countries, like government of Indonesia has now in recently in 2019, they have made it mandatory that halal labeling is mandatory, and certification rules, all for the exports and imports, they are now mandatory. And the major part which is playing is e-commerce industry. Every consumer can now see that whether the product they are consuming is halal or not. And this awareness in consumers is increasing through e-commerce, and it's obviously impacting the halal food industry potential. So moving on to this, Malaysia, we can say, is the global hub of halal food industry, and it's the pioneer. It has the major share, 60% share in halal food industry, and not only in halal food industry, but also in halal industry, because global halal industry. And they are moving towards certification and certifications and standards. JKM, we can say they're the most popular certification scheme of halal. And total, you can say, the USD products they were exporting in 2019 were worth to 10.9 billion. So it's a major share. Moving on to the Japan and South Korea, they are focusing on tourism, Muslim tourism. And Brazil is the largest supplier of halal poultry and meat. In 2019, 2.3 million tons of poultry were exported by Brazil, and it's to OIC countries, to Muslim countries, and to different countries. And according to a research in Brazil, 6% increase in coming year, it's expecting. They are increased 6% increase in their suppliers and demand each year. So next is UAE. UAE is all set to become the next hub of halal industry in finance. They are more focusing on finance and Islamic banking. Next, Thailand is also a forefront, you can say, in halal food industry, and they are the 5th largest producer of halal dietary products. So these are some. Australia is the next, which is 4th largest. We also discussed before. It's the 4th largest exporter of meat till now. So these are some non-Muslim countries which are considering the halal potential, not only in food but also in different perspectives and different things. These are some emerging halal markets which are considering now, because of their population, because of some you can say a Muslim population, they are considering, and they are coming forth in halal food industry, and they are considering all these things. So Southeast Asia, China, and Gulf Cooperation countries, Europe, they are the main. And you can see here the Southeast Asia, the per capita chicken meat consumption in Indonesia is to be increased 1.3 million in per year. So it's a great potential of halal food industry, and not only in Muslim countries but also in non-Muslim countries. So we also discussed before that it's not just about slaughtering of the meat, slaughtering of different animals, and it's not only about the meat, that it should be prepared like this, or non-haram haram things should not be included. It's about different products, it's about cultural diversity, it's about the lifestyle, it's the halal of global food. The main, we can say, the potential in halal food industry is in the supply chain. We have to consider from farm to fork thing in this halal food industry to ensure that the food you are consuming is perfect, is pure, and is halal. Because you can say is in many supply chains, big supply chains, you can say sometimes the same supply chain or the same transport they are using for haram things, they use for halal things. And it's not the and it's we can say it's not the thing. They cannot create the difference between haram and halal things. So the supply chain is the main potential, is the main thing which are now considering the things of farm to fork potential. Nestle and McDonald's, KFC, they are all the major world's largest food manufacturing corporations. And McDonald's, you can say, leading restaurant chain. Carrefour is one of the retail chain, and they are all now 100% halal in Singapore. Singapore is only 15% population of Singapore is Muslims. Still, McDonald's and KFC and different industries are now 100% halal. It's because the increasing demand, not only in Muslim population, but also in non-Muslim population, because of purity, because of food safety. Halal market is always used in you can say in these perspectives, in healthy perspective. Consumers are now considering organic and environment friendly things. Animal welfare is also considered in halal food industry, as according to Islam, we should not harm any animal. And we should when during slaughtering, the animal should be hurt minimum. So these are some fair trade. These are some things which are moving the major population of the world towards the halal food industry and halal industry, because of its food safety, hygiene, and reliability. We can rely on these laws, on these Islamic, or you can say halal laws, and we can rely on halal food, that they are pure, and they will not cause any harm, like different, like coronavirus, you can say, the viruses or bacteria coming from different wildlife. So these animals are pure, and they can move towards the food safety culture, and hygienic practices. The major market development, you can say, the three things we consider in a major market development is a competitive market. Now all these countries, big industry hubs, are considering the marketplace, where they can get edge. Why and how they can get edge in the marketplace. So halal food industry and halal marketing is the thing where they can get edge, and they can serve the 1.9 billion population of Muslims. And they can gain their marketplace as a major hub, and even they can attract the young entrepreneurs which are interested in halal food market, and they are increasing their potential. And it's not limited to Muslim countries. It's now considering we considering its potential in all continents, in all countries. So next is halal certification. Halal certification is considering, and we can say, okay, it's attracting the customers, major customers. And halal certification in many Muslim countries now, now halal certification is necessary, and consumers require that the product should be, and the industry, they are believing they must be halal certified from any company which provides the certification. Like in Pakistan, we can say, different certifications of halal, and different food products are now certified, and now certified industries are moving towards it, whether they have to get from it GAC, from the certification from the GAC or JCAM, or the other international certification. So these are some halal certification bodies trend. The major countries now, major, it's in Australia. As Australia is the big exporter of meat, so they require and they export and they import all the things according to the halal certification. They require halal certification for their products, whether they have to import it or whether they have to export it. Next is Asia, and Asia, Malaysia is considering halal certification. It's next thing. Where they are working. In Europe, halal certification is required, and different all these countries are requiring halal certification because of the demand of the consumers. Next is standard. Standards, international standards, they are the main focus in the next 5 years. You can say the development is coming and implementation of standards in halal industries. And even in small, you can say in small industries, it's the big consideration of industrialists nowadays, and they are developing and promoting different halal standards. In Pakistan, we can say PNAC is considering the halal food standard. We can say it's PS 373, which is implemented over a different markets, and the potential in these procedures and exporters are to be seen. So halal certification, IFANCA is the Islamic Food and Nutrition Council of America, and it's the leading resource of halal information. The main halal information, you can say, you can get from their site, and you can get from their certifications and their articles, and they are developing the linkages between the large manufacturing companies, and the acceptance of this certification methods and procedures are now considering because of their work, and in different, not only in Muslim countries but also in non-Muslim countries such as Thailand and Singapore. So moving on to the main challenges, we can say that the main challenge is from farm to fork. How we can say that this food is totally halal, and the production was halal. The processing lines were different for haram and halal food. Marketing is good, and to the consumer, the food, the plate of his or her food is halal. So the supply chain, we can say, is the main focus of halal food industry nowadays. From the farm, they have to consider all the things: the production and the processing line, the distribution should be halal, the packaging should be halal, and the logistics should be halal. The production lines should be separate for haram and halal food. They cannot be the same, and if they are same, they should be in different shifts, and they should be first cleaned and sanitized, and the marketing should not along with the haram food. They should be considered all the ingredients, and all the halal food ingredients must be mentioned on the packaging. And if any ingredient is included which is we can say you can say that it's haram, or it's not considered as halal, that should be mentioned on the food packaging before going to the consumer. So at the end, we can say that halal market opportunities and potential, it's growing, and 20%